Alright guys, so we're gonna get started really soon, but first things first, I'm gonna tell you that this video is just gonna be my personal opinion, and I'm just gonna give you, my top 5 favorite Mercedes, of all times, so hopefully you guys like this video. If you haven't subscribed. I have a lot of videos about these old school cars and just in cars in general. I try to post videos every week, and you can also go to my channel, click on playlist. There's a lot of playlists and stuff, and about everything. There's vlogs that I do, there's videos about car repairs and all that stuff, so hopefully you guys like it. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button so you get notified of my new videos, and let's get started. 5th place in my list of my top 5 favorite Mercedes is Mercedes W201, which is known as 190 to a lot of people. You guys probably know this car, and this car is pretty amazing. They've been producing that car for pretty much like 11 years, from 1982 to 1993. And they produced a lot of those cars back then, and there's still lots of them around the world. And if you go to Europe, Asia, Africa, or like here, United States, or even South America, there's a lot of cars like that out there too. People drive them because they're amazing cars. So anyways, back to W201 is a really popular Mercedes. It's actually pretty similar to W123 Mercedes, and it has a lot of they've been using, they made a lot of those cars, so they put a lot of different engines in those cars. They put gasoline engines, diesel engines in those cars. They put there's so many of them. Like a gasoline engine in that car is M103. They had M103 in those cars, and there's a lot of different gasoline and diesel engines in those cars. These cars actually also have manual transmissions. They had 4-speed and 5-speed manual transmissions in those cars, and also automatic transmissions, of course. Alright guys, so the 4th place I'm gonna give to Mercedes W140. Yes, it's an S-Class. It's a really big tank that they made back in the day. That car was produced from 1991 to 1998. At the end of 1998, they stopped producing that car. So it's a really big, amazing car. It also had a lot of different engines in it. There was M104 in that engine, which is a straight 6 gasoline engine. They had 2.8 liter and 3.2 liter engines in that thing, and also they had a really popular M119, really reliable V8 engine in it. That was S420, so 4.2 liter, and also 5 liter S500 was also M119 engine. And the really famous one was actually a V12 that they put in that car. Which is a M120 engine. So that one is a really big, amazing engine. As far as transmissions, they used 5-speed automatic transmissions. Some of the early ones, I believe, had a 4-speed automatic transmissions, and also it doesn't really apply to US, but in Europe and some other countries, they had the manual transmissions were available in those W140 Mercedes. So those are really awesome cars. I love them so much. I've never had a W140 chassis before. And also, yeah, I forgot to mention about the diesel engines. So the W140 cars had diesel engines, which were it was OM603 engines. So it was 3.5 liter and 3.0 liter. Some classes, they came with short bodies and long bodies. So in the back of the car, if you see the badge that says, for example, S600. So S600 means that it's just a regular, you know, short body Mercedes. But they also had, for example, you know, in the back you would see like for example, let's say it was, you know, like 300 SEL. So you would see SEL in the back, and that means you know, that L, let's go over quickly. So SEL, right? So S means it's an S class. E means that it's a fuel injected car, and then L stands for long wheelbase, long body, basically. So the difference between short body W140 and long body W140 is just the rear door would be longer on the longer bodies. So that's kind of pretty cool, and I really like those cars so much. So that's 4th place. All right, let's go. 3rd place is going to be, guess what it is? All right, I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's a Mercedes W210. Yes, you're right. It's a Mercedes W210. So I personally myself own a Mercedes W210. I've had it for 5 years, almost 5 years. You know, it's been a great car. I love that thing so much. So let's just talk about it. Those cars were made from 1996 until 2002. There's still a lot of them around the world. They're pretty good cars. You know, I'm not gonna talk about the issues of those cars, you know, or good things about those cars right now. It's just basically my top 5 right now in this video. And those cars were made the first German made, actually the first Mercedes V6 that was produced. It was actually installed in that W210 Mercedes. Also, you know, they had the W202 chassis, but W202 is not one of my favorite ones. So the W210 Mercedes, they had manual transmissions. They had automatic transmissions, mostly automatic ones. You can't really find manual transmission Mercedes in the United States. It's pretty rare, you know. You still can find them, but there's not many. Especially W210, you can't find anything with a manual transmission on a W210 in the United States. You know, if you go to Germany or like some other European countries, you can actually find a W210 Mercedes with a smaller engine, and it's gonna have a manual transmission in it, which is pretty cool. So they had a lot of different variety of engines in those Mercedes W210s. They had a inline 6 M104. They had V6 M112. They had V8 M113 engine. They had also there was a E55 AMG, which was actually one of the fastest ones that they made as far as the W210 Mercedes. It was all built by hand. You know, the engines were all like you know, assembled together by hand, so that was pretty cool. And that one is a 5.4 liter, but it's also M113 engine. Also they had in a pre-facelift Mercedes W210, they had also a V8. It was an E420 that they made, which is also M119 engine. So those are really my favorite ones. Yeah, as far as Mercedes W210, I mean, it's a really great car. I love that car so much, and they're pretty reliable. Alright guys, number 2 goes to this amazing Mercedes W126 chassis. It's an S-Class. It was made from 1979 until 1991. They were made for 12 years. They're pretty amazing cars. This particular one is a 1981, but I really love these cars. And like I was telling you about the W140 S-Class, these are pretty like similar as far as, you know, like the numbers on the badge, you know, like I was telling you, it's, you know, there's they have for example, like 350 SD, which is a S stands for S class, and D stands for diesel. And if you see L on the badge, that means it's a long body, so pretty similar. And then the engines that were installed in these cars, as far as the diesel ones, OM617 turbo diesel engine, very reliable, amazing engine. Then OM603 also diesel engine, sometimes with a turbo, some of them were actually without a turbo. Pretty reliable too, you know, pretty good cars. As far as me personally, I like the OM617 engine in these cars. As you can see, the badge says turbo diesel, so it's also gonna help you out to figure out what engine is in the car, unless it's a sleeper. But also they had so many different other engines, like as far as the gasoline ones, they had a V8 in these things. They had M116, M1/M117 engines, which were V8s. They had M103 engines, which were straight inline 6 gasoline engines. They were pretty popular. Automatic transmissions, most of the time you can see automatic transmissions in these cars. Manual transmissions, yeah, sometimes pretty rare, but you can still see some of the W126s with the manual transmission, but it would be probably in a different country, you know, not really in the United States, unless someone did the swap on this thing. So yeah, this is a really amazing car. I really love it so much, and that's my, you know, daily driver right now. And I'm slowly working on it, fixing some stuff up, you know, like just slowly rebuilding, restoring the car. So stay tuned. There's going to be, like I said, a lot of videos about you know, this car and the other ones that I own. So yeah, and like I said, W126, you know, it's going to be in my second, you know, place as far as the top 5 Mercedes. So what do you guys think is going to be my #1 most favorite Mercedes of all times? What do you guys think? I know that some of you that are watching this video and watch my videos in general, you guys are gonna know what car that is, but for those of you who don't know, the secret is gonna get revealed. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom! This car right here. This is a Mercedes W123 chassis, produced from 1976 to 1985, produced all over the place around the world in many different countries: Asia, Europe, United States, South America. It's just amazing car. This particular one is 38 years old. It was made in 1981. It has a 4-cylinder diesel in it and a manual transmission. It's an amazing car. It's going to be getting restored as well. As you can see, it's not in the best of the shape, but yeah, that's why you guys are watching my videos, because you love these cars so much. You know, you like seeing me working on those cars. So damn, some Mustang owners, huh? That's crazy. Either way, back to this. Don't pay attention to this because I took out the headlight and I'm gonna be cleaning them up from the inside, so I just put this thing right here for now, just so it doesn't seem like too bad from the far away. Alright guys, so let's quickly talk about this car. Like I said, it was made from 1976 to 1985. These W123 Mercedes, they have you know, most of them actually, especially in the United States, they're gonna have diesel engines in them. Really popular OM616 4-cylinder diesel, and also OM617 diesel engine. And also the later ones, made the W123s made from 1981 to 1985, are gonna have OM617 turbo diesel engines with a turbocharger. So most of them, of course, especially if it's a OM617, they're gonna have automatic transmissions. Some of the early OM617 Mercedes W123s had you know, manual transmission, especially if it's a Euro model. And this particular one, like I said, it has a manual transmission. It's a 4-cylinder M616 diesel engine. So as far as the that's going to be the diesel engines, most popular ones. Then we're going to go to gasoline engines. You know, there's not many of them. You can still see some of them. They're going to be AM110 engine, which is a, you know, 280E, something like that. So also forgot to tell you, this car is, as you saw, it's a sedan, but they also made 2-door coupes, and they also made wagons, W123s. And also, depending on either it's a US car made for United States or it's made for a European market, it's going to have different headlights. So that's pretty much about it. That's my top 5 favorite Mercedes of all times. And then as you notice that most of these cars are actually that I mentioned are from, you know, like, you know, 20 years ago. You know, they're pretty old, but I really love old school cars, as you guys know. And some of you that don't know, please subscribe. You will find out more. I make a lot of videos about these cars. They're pretty amazing, and I'm sure if you're gonna keep watching my videos, you're gonna fall in love with these cars as well. And also forgot to mention all the Mercedes that I mentioned. You know, the W140, W201, W210, W126 and W123. All of them are rear-wheel drive only. The only one that actually was all-wheel drive is a Mercedes W210. They made a it was actually a 4MATIC. That's what Mercedes calls the all-wheel drive cars, 4MATIC ones. So the only ones from the ones that I mentioned on my top 5 list is W210 Mercedes that was actually an all-wheel drive. So the rest of them were all rear-wheel drive, like all the old school cars. You know, like you guys remember. You know, I don't know how old you are, but you know, back, you know, 20-30 years ago, 50 years ago, all the cars were rear-wheel drive. There was no such BS like front-wheel drive or anything like that. You know, that's why I'm really big fan of rear-wheel drive cars. They're amazing. Yes, you can drive them in the winter. You know, maybe I'll make a video on that, you know, so you guys can get familiar. But yeah, there's no issues. I mean, that's what people drove. You know, they drove these cars during winters, you know, back 50-40 years ago. So alright guys, so you're probably going to be asking me why I didn't mention a car like W124 or, you know, W116, let's say, or something like that. You know, I'm going to tell you, you know, one thing is actually I really love all the old school Mercedes. You know, I really love the W124 Mercedes. I love the W116, W115. I love all of them so much, you know, the same way. It's just I don't know, you know, I decided to make this video just to show you, you know, like my top ones that I like. You know, and I would say, you know, W124 it's probably on the 6th place after the W201, or maybe I could say it could be in the same place. I could have done this video differently. Maybe I should have said, you know, that on my 5th place there's W201 and also W124, you know, 2 of them in one. But either way, I did it this way. Just know that I love all of them the same way. They all deserve to live, and they're just amazing cars. Also, I forgot to mention, I believe that W124 was one of those first cars that was, you know, had the 4MATIC cars introduced, actually. So if you ever you know, find a W124 that's a 4MATIC, it's actually a real 4MATIC car. So it's not that somebody just put a 4MATIC badge on it. It's actually a real one. They made 4MATIC W124s back then. So this is pretty cool. But from that list that I mentioned, the only car that was a 4MATIC was actually a W210 Mercedes. Guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and also the bell. Don't forget about the bell, because that's the one that gives you notifications of my new videos that are coming out. And once again, thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. Hopefully we can grow together. Save as many of these old school cars as we can. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much. Enjoy your day, and I will see you in the next one. Das Beste.